An alien telepath read a human mind, then collapsed screaming. Aliens from all over the galaxy sat in their seats, their bodies and faces different in ways humans would have called strange. Some had smooth scales, others had shining feathers. Some had multiple arms, and some had glowing eyes. All of them were watching. All of them waited. Adam Cole stood in the center of the chamber. He was an ordinary human, a security officer from the colony on Earth's moon. He had short brown hair, plain clothes, and eyes that seemed calm even in this strange, crowded place. He had been chosen not because he was a hero or a soldier, but because he was average, and sometimes average humans surprised everyone. Across from him on a floating platform stood Laura. She was tall for her species, and her skin was a soft purple. Her eyes glowed faintly when she prepared to read thoughts. She was one of the best telepaths in the galaxy, and she had never failed. Everyone expected her to read Adam's mind easily. The council expected her to reveal every secret humans kept, and to show the truth about this young species they had been watching for decades. Adam did not move. He simply waited. He felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity, but mostly he felt calm. He knew humans had survived wars, disasters, and threats that no other species had. He knew his mind was his own, and he would not hide fear, but he would not give away weakness either. Laura smiled slightly, a smile that did not reach her eyes. She raised her hand, and a soft light formed around her head. The other council members leaned forward. This was the moment they had been waiting for. She would enter Adam's mind, see everything he thought, and humanity's secrets would be revealed. "Are you ready, human?" she asked. Her voice was smooth, melodic, and calm, but there was an edge to it. She had never failed before, and she did not plan to fail now. Adam nodded. "I am ready," he said. His voice was soft, almost too calm for the moment, but it carried something that made even the largest aliens turn slightly in surprise. There was no fear in his words, no hesitation. He stood as if this were just another day at work. Laura took a slow step forward. She reached out with her mind, a wave of invisible energy that humans could not see. It touched Adam gently at first, brushing against his thoughts like a hand on water. She began to pull, expecting to feel curiosity, fear, anger, secrets, lies. She expected a mind shaped like the other species she had read before. At first it was quiet. She felt small flashes of simple thoughts, the view from his bedroom window, the smell of Earth's forests, the taste of food, nothing unusual. Laura smiled. This was easy. She could feel the structure of his mind. It was clear, simple, and apparently normal. She leaned in closer, expecting more. But then something changed. The calm layers she had felt before began to break apart. Deeper thoughts surfaced without warning. She felt images of humans fighting wars, not only in space, but on planets that had no oxygen, no food, and no water. She saw them running through fire and smoke, holding each other, saving strangers while dying themselves. She felt the pain, the fear, and the grief of generations stacked on top of each other. She pulled harder, trying to organize what she felt. But the mind of Adam, and perhaps of all humans, was not like any other species. It was not one simple layer with clear boundaries. It was endless. Every memory, every thought, every possibility was connected in ways she could not control. It was alive, like a storm that refused to stop. Laura gasped. The room seemed to tilt. She felt herself pulled into visions of hunger and cold, of loss and despair, but also of courage and hope. She saw humans protecting each other, even when they had nothing to gain. She felt the quiet determination that humans carried in their minds. It was not loud or aggressive. It was persistent. It would not break. Adam noticed her pause. He frowned slightly, but he did not move. He did not fear. He only waited. He could feel that she was struggling, though he did not know why. He had learned since he was a child that calmness was often stronger than aggression. He breathed slowly, letting his mind remain clear and steady. Laura's eyes widened. She had felt many strong minds, but this was different. She felt not only Adam's own thoughts, but the imprint of the humans who had lived and died before him. She felt the pain of wars she had never seen, the courage of people who had no weapons but survived against impossible odds. She felt love that endured through centuries, hope that refused to die. She felt anger that burned, but also a strange wisdom. She stumbled backward slightly, gripping the railing of her platform. Her mind was straining under the weight of human memory. She tried to pull out to leave his mind, but it was like leaving a river after plunging into rapids. The current was too strong. She could feel herself being dragged through visions of blood and fire, and then moments of joy and laughter that made her feel guilty for even thinking humans were weak. The council members gasped. They had never seen a telepath react like this. Many of them had trained their minds to resist even the strongest mental storms. But Laura was screaming inside, trapped in a human mind she thought would be simple. She was trembling, her body shaking, and her glowing eyes flickered wildly. Adam tilted his head slightly. He could not see the visions she saw, but he felt the energy, the pressure. He felt her confusion and pain. He did not understand it, but he did not panic. He stood still, his mind calm, almost like a mountain. The humans before him had survived worse than this. Laura fell to the floor, her hands pressed to her head. The light from her eyes flickered and dimmed. She screamed aloud, a sound that echoed across the chamber. The aliens leaned back in horror. They had never heard a telepath scream. Her voice carried both fear and awe, pain and confusion. She was seeing something that no one else had ever imagined. Healers rushed forward, trying to stabilize her. Some used their energy fields to calm her body. Others whispered to her to pull back from the mind of Adam. She could barely hear them. She was drowning in visions of human survival, of courage that refused to be broken. She could feel generations of humans who had lived, died, and fought for their planet, and she could not escape. Adam took a small step forward, his eyes calm. He had no idea what she was seeing, but he could sense her panic. He extended a hand slightly, not touching her, but offering a signal that he meant no harm. He did not move aggressively. He did not attack. He simply existed as a human. And that was enough to overwhelm the most skilled telepath in the galaxy. Finally, Laura's body stopped shaking. She lay on the platform, breathing heavily, tears forming in her eyes. She could not speak. Her mind had been broken by the strength of humanity. She had entered expecting to see secrets, lies, and weakness, but all she found was endurance, courage, and hope stacked upon hope. She had no words. She had no strength left to argue or fight. The council looked on in silence. Whispers moved across the chamber. Some aliens felt fear, others felt awe. The humans had been underestimated. The humans had survived wars, disasters, and horrors that no other species could imagine, and their minds carried all of that without breaking. One human, standing calmly in the center of the chamber, had shown more strength than any telepath or warrior in the galaxy. Adam stood quietly, feeling the tension but not reacting. He had done nothing heroic. He had simply existed as a human, as his species had always done. He had not tried to attack, to trick, or to deceive. He had only been himself, and that was enough to break the telepath who thought she could understand him. The healers finally helped Laura to her feet. She looked at Adam, her eyes wide with disbelief. She had never expected this. She had never imagined a human mind could carry so much without breaking. She whispered something inaudible, shaking her head. She could not speak clearly yet, but she knew one thing. Humans were not what the galaxy thought they were. They were stronger, far stronger. The council leaned forward. They demanded explanations. Laura could only shake her head. She had seen too much. She had felt too much. She could not explain it without collapsing again. Adam did not speak. He did not need to. The message was clear. Humans were quiet, ordinary, and simple on the outside, but their minds, their hearts, their endurance were beyond anything the galaxy had seen. And in that moment, the first understanding began to form. Humans were not fragile. Humans were not weak. Humans were a species built to survive, to endure, and to move forward no matter what. And for the first time in history, the Council and the galaxy would see the humans not as a species to be tested, but as one to be respected. Adam stayed calm as he had from the beginning. He looked around the chamber at all the eyes upon him, at all the different species, and he simply waited. He did not boast. He did not show fear. He existed as a human, and that was all that was needed. The galaxy had begun to learn a new truth, one that would take generations to fully understand. But it had started in that moment, in a quiet chamber with a single human standing still, and a telepath who could not comprehend the strength she had found the council chamber was. Still filled with tension, Laura sat in a medical chair, her body trembling slightly and her glowing eyes dimmed. She could not stop thinking about what she had seen inside Adam's mind. The humans had endured horrors she could not even imagine, and yet they remained calm, steady, and alive. Every memory she had touched was full of pain, but also of courage and hope. She had been overwhelmed, and she knew it was only the beginning. Adam stood quietly in the center of the room. He did not move, though he could feel the attention of every alien on him. He did not need to speak because his presence said everything. Humans survived, humans endured, and humans could not be easily broken. That simple fact, understood without words, was shaking the council more than any weapon could. One of the council elders, a tall alien named Zurath, leaned forward. Zurath's body was covered in silver scales that reflected the light, and his eyes were like liquid metal. He had spent decades studying humanity, and he believed he knew what to expect. Yet he was not prepared for what he had just witnessed. He spoke slowly, choosing his words carefully. "Telepath Laura," Zurath said, "explain what happened. Why did you collapse?" Laura's hands shook as she lifted them slightly. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. I cannot fully explain," she said. "Humans, their minds are not simple. They are layers of strength, pain, and hope. I have read many species, but I have never felt so much. Every thought, every memory, it is all connected. It is not just one human. It is all of them at once, and it is too much." Whispers ran through the chamber. The other council members looked at each other in disbelief. No one had ever described a human mind in this way. Many had assumed humans were weak, emotional, and easily broken. Now even the most experienced telepath was shaken, and the council had to consider that humans were far stronger than anyone imagined. Adam stepped forward slightly. He spoke in a calm voice, steady and even. "I did not try to hurt her," he said. "I did not try to attack. I simply exist. I am human, that is all you need to know." Zurath raised an eyebrow. "You survived the reading without breaking, but tell me why. How can one human carry so much and remain calm?" Adam hesitated. He could have lied, but he did not. Humans valued honesty even in difficult moments. "Humans endure because we have to," he said. "We survive not for ourselves alone, but for others. Our history, it is full of pain, loss, and fear. But we also have hope. We protect each other. We fight for those who cannot fight. That is what it means to be human." Another council member, a small alien named Fira with translucent wings and glowing veins, floated closer. Her voice was curious and gentle. "But surely all that pain, all that memory would overwhelm you," she said. "How do you carry it?" Adam shrugged slightly. "We carry it because we must. It is not easy. We feel fear, anger, and sadness. We have lost more than you can imagine. But we also have courage, friendship, and hope. We carry both, and we move forward even when it is hard. Even when we are tired, afraid, or hurt, we move forward. That is human nature." Laura shivered in her chair. She had never heard a human speak this way before, and she could not stop remembering what she had seen in his mind. She had touched memories of war, famine, and extinction. She had seen humans save strangers while risking their own lives. She had seen hope survive even when everything else was destroyed. She could not understand how one mind could hold so much. The council members leaned back in their seats. They were trying to process what they had just witnessed. Humans were no longer a species to test lightly. They were a species that carried strength in a way no one had expected. Even without weapons or armies, humans had survived impossible odds. Adam walked slowly toward Laura, careful not to frighten her further. He spoke softly. "You are not hurt because of me. You are hurt because you tried to understand something too big. Human minds are not like yours. They are built to survive. You will heal, you will recover, but you will not forget what you felt." Laura's eyes filled with tears. She nodded, unable to speak. She had not only been overwhelmed by Adam's mind, but by all humans she had seen through him. She had felt generations of courage, hope, and determination. She had felt a species that refused to break, even when everything seemed lost. She had underestimated them, and she could never do that again. Zurath spoke again. "This changes everything. Humans are not weak. They are beyond what we thought. We must reconsider how we view them, how we test them, and how we deal with them. What you have just shown us is not weakness. It is power of a different kind, a power we cannot measure with our usual tools." Fira nodded. "We should not attempt to invade or manipulate their minds again. Clearly, they are stronger than any telepath or spy could handle. And yet they are not aggressive. They do not seek war or dominance. They endure and protect. It is remarkable." Adam looked around the room. He could feel their fear, their awe, and their respect. Humans had always survived by being careful, clever, and brave. They had endured natural disasters, wars, and threats from species far stronger than themselves. They had survived by working together and protecting each other. Now, the council had begun to understand that simple truth. Healers helped Laura to her feet. She was weak, but she was recovering. She looked at Adam with a mixture of fear, respect, and confusion. I do not know how to explain it," she whispered. "Your mind, your species, it is unlike anything I have ever felt. I cannot measure it, control it, or fully understand it." "It is too much, it is extraordinary." Adam nodded slowly. "Humans are not perfect," he said. "We make mistakes, we fail, we hurt each other sometimes, but we also endure and we try again. That is what makes us human. We survive even when the odds are against us." "That is all I can say." The council members were silent. They were processing a new reality. Humans were not weak, emotional, or simple. Humans were complex, strong, and capable of surviving horrors no other species could endure. They carried generations of experience, courage, and hope in every mind. They could not be underestimated. Laura stepped back, still trembling. She looked at Adam and whispered, I am sorry. I underestimated you. I never thought a human could carry so much without breaking." Adam smiled faintly. It was not a proud smile, but a calm one. "You are not the first to underestimate humans," he said, "and you will not be the last, but we survive. That is all that matters." The council members began to speak quietly among themselves. They debated what they had seen, what it meant for humanity, and how they should interact with this new species. Some wanted to approach humans with fear, some with caution, and some with respect. One thing was clear: humans could not be treated the same way as any other species. They were beyond the council's expectations. Adam returned to his position in the center of the chamber. He did not feel pride or anger or fear. He only felt calm. He had survived the test, even though there was no test. He had only existed as a human, and that had been enough. He could feel the eyes of the council on him, and he knew they were trying to understand him. But understanding humans was not easy. It had never been easy, and it would not be easy in the future. Laura recovered enough to speak again. Her voice was quiet but steady. We must be careful," she said. "Humans are not predictable in the way we thought. They do not follow the patterns we know. Their minds are strong, their endurance is beyond what we can measure, and their hope is unbreakable. They are unique, extraordinary. We must respect that." Adam nodded. He knew humans had always been underestimated, and they often were. But he also knew something else. Humans survived because they could endure, because they could hope, and because they could protect each other. Nothing else mattered. The galaxy could try to measure humans, invade their minds, or test them in every way imaginable, but the truth remained. Humans were strong, and they would survive no matter what. The council finally quieted. They had made their decision, though they did not yet speak it aloud. Humans would not be tested again, not in the same way. Humans were to be respected, and their minds were to be left alone. Even the strongest telepath could not break them. Humans had survived, and now the galaxy had to recognize it. Adam turned slowly and walked toward the exit of the chamber. He did not rush. He did not fear. He simply walked, calm and steady, as he always did. Behind him, the council watched in silence. They could not fully understand him, but they could see the truth. Humanity was not weak. Humanity endured. Humanity survived. And for the first time, the galaxy began to realize something it had never fully understood. Humans were not fragile, not predictable, not simple. They were strong in ways no telepath, no warrior, and no species could measure. Their strength was quiet, deep, and unyielding, and that strength was now known to all who had witnessed it. Adam left the chamber, still calm, still steady, and still human. The council could only watch, unsure of how to respond to a species that had survived so much, endured so much, and yet remained simple in its presence. Humans had survived again, not by fighting, not by weapons, but by being human, and that fact would change the way the galaxy saw them forever after the chamber incident. The council members struggled to understand what they had seen. Laura was still weak, but she insisted on explaining what had happened inside Adam's mind. She could barely stand, but her voice was steady, filled with awe and fear. "I have seen many minds in my life," she said, "but none like this. The human mind is deep, endless, and full of contradictions. It carries pain, loss, love, hope, and courage all at once. I cannot fully explain it." Zurath leaned forward, his metallic scales catching the light. He had studied humans for decades, and he thought he understood them. But now he realized he had seen only the surface. "Are you saying," he asked slowly, "that humans endure more than any other species, that they can survive horrors that would break others?" Laura nodded weakly. Yes, and not just survive, but protect, help, and keep moving forward. They do not give up even when everything seems lost. It is not strength like ours or theirs. It is different, quiet, persistent, unstoppable in a way I cannot measure. Adam stood nearby, calm and still. He did not need to speak. He had always known this about humans, but now, for the first time, the galaxy could feel a small glimpse of it through Laura's mind. He could feel her fear, her awe, and her respect. He had not intended to impress her or anyone. He had simply been himself. The council members whispered among themselves. Some were afraid, others were fascinated. Fira, the small alien with translucent wings, floated closer to Laura. "How did one human carry all that?" she asked softly. Even the strongest telepaths struggle with minds far simpler than this. Laura shook her head. "It is not just one human. It is the memory of all humans, past and present. Their pain, their courage, their love. It is like touching a river that never ends. It flows through generations. It cannot be contained, measured, or controlled." Adam listened quietly. He could not remember all the times humans had suffered, but he knew the stories. He knew of wars, famines, diseases, and disasters that had destroyed planets, cities, and homes. He knew of humans who had risked everything to save strangers, friends, and even enemies. He had learned that endurance, hope, and courage were more powerful than weapons or armies. Laura looked at him, tears in her eyes. "I underestimated your species," she said. "I thought humans were fragile, emotional, and weak. I was wrong. You are extraordinary. I cannot believe what I felt. It is too much to explain." Adam nodded slowly. "Humans are not perfect," he said. "We fail. We hurt each other sometimes. We make mistakes, but we endure. We protect each other. We keep moving forward no matter what. That is what makes us human. That is all I can say." Zurath spoke again, his voice calm but serious. "This changes everything. We cannot treat humans like other species. We cannot invade their minds, test them, or manipulate them. They are too strong. Their endurance, their hope, and their courage are beyond our understanding. We must respect them or risk our own failure." Fira nodded slowly. "We must be careful. Humans are not predictable in the way we are used to. They carry the memories of generations. They survive even when the odds are against them. It is remarkable." Adam remained quiet, feeling the weight of their words. He did not seek recognition. He did not want power or respect. He simply existed as a human, calm and steady. Humans had always endured by relying on each other, by facing challenges together, and by holding on to hope even when the world seemed hopeless. That was what he had shown, and that was enough. Laura took a deep breath, still trembling slightly. "I need time to recover," she said. "I have felt things no one should feel at once. The human mind is limitless. It carries more than I imagined possible. I do not know if I can ever read a human again without collapsing." Adam looked at her calmly. "You do not need to," he said. "Humans are not a test or a challenge. We survive, we endure, and we protect each other. That is our nature. Nothing more is required." The council fell silent. For the first time, they understood that humans were not a species to be measured, studied, or tested. Humans were a species to be respected. They carried strength, courage, and hope in ways that could not be seen or measured, but that could not be ignored. Adam walked slowly to the center of the chamber, his hands at his sides. He could feel the eyes of every alien on him, but he did not fear them. He did not need to. Humans had faced threats far greater than this. Humans had survived wars, famines, and disasters that no other species could endure. He had learned, as every human did, that calmness, hope, and endurance were stronger than any weapon. Laura stood, still weak but recovering. She looked at Adam with a mixture of respect and disbelief. I cannot measure you," she said. "I cannot control you, I cannot fully understand you, but I know this, humans are not weak. They are beyond what I imagined." Adam nodded slowly. "Humans are not perfect," he said. "We make mistakes, we fail, we hurt each other, but we endure, we protect each other. We move forward no matter what. That is what makes us human." The council members continued to speak quietly among themselves. They debated what they had seen, what it meant for humanity, and how they should approach this new species. Some feared humans, some admired them, some simply did not know what to think. One thing was clear: humans could not be treated like any other species. They were beyond the council's expectations. Adam returned to the center of the chamber and stood quietly. He did not boast, he did not argue, he did not show fear. He simply existed as a human, and that was enough. The council had learned something new, something they could not ignore. Humans were strong, enduring, and capable of surviving horrors no other species could imagine. Laura recovered enough to speak again. Her voice was quiet but steady. "We must respect humans," she said. "Their minds are strong, their endurance is beyond what we can measure, and their hope is unbreakable. They are unique, extraordinary. We must be careful in how we interact with them." Adam nodded. He had always known humans were strong. He had always known that endurance, hope, and courage were more important than weapons or armies. Now the council had seen it, at least a little. They had seen a human who could stand calm in the face of overwhelming force, a human whose mind carried the memories and courage of generations. The council finally quieted. They had made a decision, though they did not yet speak it aloud. Humans would not be tested again in the same way. Humans were to be respected, not feared, and their minds were to be left alone. Even the strongest telepath could not break them. Humans had survived, and now the galaxy had to recognize it. Adam turned slowly and walked toward the exit of the chamber. He did not rush. He did not fear. He simply walked, calm and steady, as he always did. Behind him, the council watched in silence. They could not fully understand him, but they could see the truth. Humanity was not weak. Humanity endured. Humanity survived. As he left, he could feel the tension and awe in the room. He could feel the weight of expectation and fear that the council carried, and he did not try to change it. He had only been himself. Humans had survived again, not by fighting, not by weapons, but by being human. Outside the chamber, the sun of the planet reflected off the crystal dome. Humans had been underestimated, and they often were. But they survived because they endured, because they protected each other, and because they held on to hope. Nothing else mattered. The galaxy would learn slowly that humans were strong, persistent, and unstoppable in ways no telepath, warrior, or council could ever measure. Adam looked up at the sky. He did not feel pride or fear. He felt calm. He had shown nothing extraordinary, yet he had shown everything about what it meant to be human. The council might not fully understand, the galaxy might not fully see, but humans had survived, and they always would. And for the first time, the galaxy began to understand in a small way that humans were not fragile, not simple, and not weak. Humans endured. Humans survived. Humans protected each other and carried the strength of generations. And that simple truth, quiet and persistent, would echo through the council chamber, through the galaxy, and through the stars for generations to come. Adam walked away calmly, his mind steady, his heart quiet, and his spirit unbroken. He had done nothing remarkable, yet he had done everything that mattered. Humans survived, and that was enough. After the incident in the council chamber, the galaxy began to speak quietly about humans. News traveled fast among the alien species. Whispers of a human who had broken a master telepath without using weapons or power spread quickly. Some spoke with fear, others with curiosity, and a few with admiration. Humanity had become a mystery the galaxy could not ignore. Adam returned to his ship after the council meeting. He walked through the corridors quietly, not noticing the stares of the crew. He had done nothing extraordinary. He had only stood calm while the council and a telepath watched him. Yet the weight of what had happened followed him. He felt the echo of the telepath's fear and awe in his mind. His friend and fellow crew member, Lisa, met him at the entrance. She had heard the rumors and could see the tension in the room. "Adam, are you okay?" she asked. Her voice was soft but worried. She had known humans could endure much, but she had never seen one break a telepath so completely. Adam smiled faintly. "I'm fine," he said. "I didn't do anything special. I was just myself. Humans survive by being who we are." "Nothing more is needed." Lisa nodded, but she did not look fully convinced. "Still, the council won't forget this. They've never seen anything like it. You've changed how they see humans." Adam shrugged. "Good or bad, they will respect us now. That is enough. Humans have always survived, even when others doubted us. This is no different." Back on the planet where the council chamber floated, Laura recovered fully from the mental strain. She spent hours explaining to the council what she had felt inside Adam's mind. She spoke of endurance, hope, courage, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. The council listened, some skeptical, some amazed. Zurath finally spoke to the council in a calm, serious voice. "We have underestimated humans for too long. We assumed they were weak, fragile, and emotional. Now we see they are neither. Humans endure horrors we cannot imagine, and they continue to protect, hope, and survive. They are extraordinary. We must treat them differently." The council debated for days. Some wanted to approach humans with caution, fearing their endurance could be dangerous. Others wanted to learn from them, to study how they survived so much without breaking. In the end, the council decided on a new rule. Humans would no longer be tested or invaded. They were to be respected, not feared. Adam remained unaware of most of this. He continued his duties quietly, performing tasks that others would consider simple. Yet in every action, he carried the same calm, steady endurance that had broken the telepath. He did not seek recognition. He did not seek power. He only existed as a human, and that was enough. One day, while walking through the corridors of his ship, he was approached by a delegation of aliens sent by the council. They had come to speak with him directly. Among them was Zureth, Laura, and several others who had witnessed the event. Adam Cole, Zureth began, his metallic eyes serious. We have come to understand more. The galaxy has spoken about you, about what you have shown. Tell us, how do humans carry so much and remain calm? Adam looked at them calmly. We endure because we must. Humans face dangers, pain, and loss that others cannot imagine. We survive by protecting each other, by hoping, by moving forward even when it seems impossible. That is all we do. We do not need power or weapons to survive. We have each other, and that is enough. Laura, standing nearby, nodded. I have felt it, she said softly. I have been inside your mind. It is overwhelming. Humans are not weak. Humans are strong in ways I cannot measure. They endure, they hope, and they survive. It is extraordinary. Adam smiled faintly. Humans are not perfect, he said. We make mistakes, we hurt each other sometimes, we fail, but we endure and we continue. That is what makes us human. It is not special. It is what we do every day. The council delegation listened in silence. They could not fully understand, but they could feel the truth. Humans were strong, persistent, and unbreakable in ways no telepath or alien mind could measure. They could survive anything, not because of power, but because of endurance, hope, and the quiet strength to keep moving forward. News of the council's decision spread quickly across the galaxy. Humans were no longer seen as weak or fragile. They were respected, admired, and even feared quietly in some corners. Humans had survived countless challenges, and now they had survived the judgment of the galaxy without lifting a hand in anger or violence. Adam returned to his quarters, sitting quietly and thinking. He did not feel proud. He did not feel fear. He felt calm. Humans had survived countless generations, faced dangers beyond imagination, and continued to endure. He was just one of many, and yet he had shown the galaxy what humans were capable of. Laura approached him later, still recovering from the mental strain. She looked at him with respect and awe. I cannot believe it, she said softly. I have never seen a mind like yours. Humans, you carry so much and still remain calm. I do not understand how you do it. Adam shook his head slightly. You do not need to understand, you only need to see it. Humans survive by enduring, by protecting each other, by hoping even when it is hard. That is enough. That is what makes us human. Laura nodded slowly. She could feel the truth in his words. She had seen it, felt it, and could not forget it. Humans were different from any other species. They carried strength that no telepath, warrior, or council could measure. And that strength was quiet, persistent, and unstoppable. The days passed, and the galaxy slowly adjusted to the new understanding of humanity. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were respected, feared quietly, and observed with curiosity. Every species began to consider humans differently, knowing that endurance, hope, and courage could be more powerful than any weapon or army. Adam continued his work quietly, performing simple tasks with calm determination. He did not seek recognition or fame. He only existed as a human, steady and strong. And in doing so, he reminded the galaxy of something it had forgotten. Humans survive, humans endure, and humans protect each other, no matter the cost. One evening, as the sun set over the planet's surface, Adam stood outside the ship looking at the stars. He could see planets, moons, and fleets moving quietly in the distance. He felt calm, steady, and certain. Humans had survived countless challenges, faced threats from powerful species, and endured horrors that others could not imagine, and they would continue to survive. Laura approached him quietly, standing at a respectful distance. Humans are remarkable, she said softly. I have never seen anything like it. You carry generations in your mind and remain calm. It is incredible. Adam smiled faintly. Humans are not perfect, he said again. We make mistakes, we fail, and we hurt each other, but we endure, we protect each other. We move forward even when it is hard. That is what makes us human. Laura nodded slowly. She had seen the truth and could not forget it. Humans were strong, enduring, and unbreakable in ways no telepath or alien mind could measure. And that strength was quiet, persistent, and unstoppable. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans were not weak, fragile, or predictable. Humans endured. Humans survived. Humans protected each other, and their strength was quiet but unstoppable. And that truth would echo through the stars for generations to come. Adam walked back to his quarters, calm and steady. He had done nothing extraordinary. He had only been himself. Yet in being himself, he had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human. Humans survived not by fighting, not by weapons, not by power, but by enduring, protecting, and hoping. And that was enough. He looked out at the stars one last time before resting. Humans had survived countless generations, faced dangers beyond imagination, and continued to endure. He was just one of many, but he had reminded the galaxy of something it had forgotten. Humans were strong, persistent, and unbreakable. And that was enough to change the way the galaxy saw them. Forever the galaxy slowly adjusted to the new understanding of humans. The Council issued new rules. Humans would no longer be tested, invaded, or manipulated. Their minds were too strong, too deep, and too unbreakable. Other species began to speak of humans with respect, some with fear and some with quiet awe. Humans were no longer underestimated. Adam continued his life on the ship, performing his duties calmly and quietly. He did not seek recognition or praise. He did not desire power or attention. He simply existed as a human, steady and resilient. Every action, no matter how small, carried the quiet strength of his species. Laura had fully recovered from the incident. She spent her time documenting what she had felt inside Adam's mind. She wrote long reports trying to explain what no words could fully capture. Every time she read them herself, she shivered. The human mind was beyond measure. It carried generations of endurance, courage, hope, and love all at once. No telepath could survive it fully. One day, the Council requested another meeting. They wanted to speak with Adam again, not as a test, but to understand him and his people better. Adam agreed. He walked into the chamber calmly, as he always did. The Council members watched him carefully, their expressions a mix of curiosity and caution. Zurath spoke first. Adam Cole, we have spent time discussing your species. We have debated, argued, and questioned. Now we wish to understand something important. Why are humans able to endure so much and still remain calm, strong, and resilient? Adam looked around the chamber slowly, his eyes calm and steady. Humans endure because we must, he said. We have survived disasters, wars, famine, and threats that others could not imagine. We survive by protecting each other, by hoping even when it is hard, and by continuing forward no matter the pain. That is all we do. That is what makes us human. Fira, the small alien with translucent wings, floated closer. But why do you not break? She asked. We have seen humans suffer, feel pain, and face impossible odds, yet you remain steady. How can one species carry so much and survive? Adam smiled faintly. We do not rely on strength alone, we rely on each other. We rely on hope, on courage, and on the simple promise that we will protect one another. That is more powerful than any weapon or skill. It is not easy. We feel fear, sadness, and pain, but we endure. That is enough. Laura stepped forward, her voice soft but strong. I have experienced it, she said. I have been inside your mind, and it is overwhelming. Humans carry generations of hope, courage, and endurance. It is impossible to describe fully. It is extraordinary. Humans are not weak. They are stronger than any mind I have ever touched. Adam nodded slowly. Humans are not perfect, he said. We make mistakes, we fail, we hurt each other sometimes, but we endure, we continue, we protect each other. That is what makes us human. It is simple, but it works. It is all we need to survive. Zurath leaned back in his seat. This changes everything, he said. We must treat humans with respect. We cannot test, invade, or underestimate them again. They are beyond our expectations. Their strength is quiet, persistent, and unstoppable. The Council agreed. Humans would be respected and left alone. Their minds could not be broken, their endurance could not be measured, and their hope could not be taken. Humans had survived generations of challenges, and they would continue to survive. The galaxy would need to remember that. Adam returned to his quarters, walking calmly through the corridors of his ship. He did not feel pride. He did not feel fear. He felt steady, calm, and certain. Humans had survived countless generations, faced dangers that no other species could endure, and continued to move forward. He had only been one human among many, yet he had reminded the galaxy of the quiet strength of his species. Laura followed him at a respectful distance. She had grown to understand humans in a way no one else could. She still shivered when she thought of his mind. She had been overwhelmed, broken, and amazed. Humans were unlike anything she had ever known. Their endurance, courage, and hope were unmatched. One evening, Adam stood outside the ship, looking at the stars. The galaxy stretched before him, full of planets, moons, and fleets of ships moving quietly through space. He felt calm, steady, and certain. Humans had survived countless dangers, endured unimaginable horrors, and continued to move forward. And they would continue to survive, no matter what challenges the galaxy placed before them. Laura approached him quietly. "Humans are incredible," she said softly. "I have never seen anything like it. You carry generations in your mind and remain calm. It is extraordinary." Adam smiled faintly. "Humans are not perfect," he repeated. "We fail, we hurt each other, we make mistakes, but we endure, we protect each other. We move forward even when it is hard. That is what makes us human." The galaxy slowly learned a new truth. Humans were not weak, fragile, or predictable. They were strong, enduring, and unbreakable. Their strength was quiet, persistent, and unstoppable. They survived not through weapons or power, but through hope, courage, and the determination to protect each other. Laura nodded slowly. She had seen the truth and could not forget it. Humans were stronger than anyone had imagined. Even the most skilled telepaths could not measure or control them. Humans were extraordinary. Adam returned to his duties quietly, performing tasks that others might see as simple. Yet every action carried the calm strength of his species. He did not need recognition or praise. He only existed as a human, steady, resilient, and calm. And that was enough to remind the galaxy of what humans could endure. News of humans' endurance, courage, and hope spread quickly. Other species spoke quietly, some with fear, others with admiration. Humans had survived countless generations, faced threats beyond imagination, and endured horrors no other species could withstand. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Adam looked at the stars one last time before resting. He did not feel pride or fear. He felt calm, steady, and certain. Humans had survived again, not by fighting, not by weapons, not by power, but by enduring, protecting, and hoping. That simple truth, quiet and persistent, would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. He thought of the humans before him, those who had lived and died, fought and survived, hoped and endured. He felt their courage, their pain, and their hope. He felt their strength, quiet but unstoppable. And he knew one simple truth: humans survived, and they always would. The Council had learned a new reality. Humans were not fragile, weak, or simple. They were strong, enduring, and unbreakable. Their minds carried generations of courage, hope, and endurance. Humans protected each other, moved forward, and survived against impossible odds. And the galaxy had no choice but to recognize it. Adam walked calmly through the corridors of his ship, quiet and steady. He had done nothing extraordinary. He had only been himself. Yet in doing so, he had reminded the galaxy of what humans were capable of. Humans survived not because of power or weapons, but because of endurance, courage, and hope. And that was enough to change the galaxy's view forever. Laura watched him from a distance, still amazed. She had felt the depth of the human mind, experienced the strength of their endurance, and understood the quiet power of hope. Humans were extraordinary, and she would never forget it. Adam smiled faintly to himself, looking at the stars once more. Humans had survived countless challenges, endured impossible dangers, and continued to move forward. They had survived again, not through aggression or power, but by being human, and that was enough. Humans would survive, endure, and protect each other forever. The galaxy had learned the truth. Humans were unbreakable, persistent, and unstoppable, and that truth would echo across the stars for generations to come.